Hello, everybody. This is Podnyne Games, and today I'm going to talk about a bunch of stuff. I guess. Usually, I do these videos and I tell you things that are going to come on the channel, and then they don't come, at least for like 6 months. So, I got a little rant that I'm going to pepper in here as well, but let me get the other stuff out of the way first. I've been asked a lot to do collection videos. Half my collection's in the attic and storage. This room that I'm in, that you guys, if you're on my Instagram, you see a lot of pictures of. Me and my kids are in here playing games, watching movies. Is getting renovated during Christmas break to look like it's something different, and all my games will be back down here. So around Christmas, beginning of the year, I'm doing a new collection video because I'll actually have all my physical media. But that being said, I can't do a collection video anymore without doing my digital, because I don't know if you can see that number, but that's 1,018 digital games between PS4 and PS5. My digital libraries have gone through the fucking roof since the last time I've done any collection videos. My physical library has expanded tremendously, but it's only the newer consoles, Series X games. I mean, I haven't done a collection video in years, so we'll even go back further to say PS4 and up. PS4 and Xbox One up. Just physical collection is hundreds. That's pretty much my rack. That's, let me see. That whole... There are some PS2 and some 360 games, but those are videos those are games that I have either done videos for or intended to do videos for. But 90% of that rack is Xbox One, PS4, PS5, Switch. Yeah. So I got a lot to catch up on. That stuff's going to be all moved over here. I got a really sweet idea. I don't want to tell people about it. So when you tell people about your ideas too much, you don't do them, right? Because then you talk about it and then maybe you pick it apart and think that, whatever. So, but anyways, my games are scattered. I showed you over there. It's more PC centric. My arcade machine's over there. I mean, up here in front of me, I have my N64 games that are kind of just sitting on a shadow box on the wall. My Sega Genesis cartridges are also up there. I have these boxes all over. I have 4 of them filled with Nintendo games. Like, I need to reorganize this. I essentially just want a wall full of games, and that's what this, you guys can't see it, but there's a wall here that I gotta paint, start putting up racks. It's gonna look beautiful. I won't put racks up around this TV. This TV is a little old though, and by old I mean 5 years. First world problems, I know. But I want a new screen, so it needs to be able to basically, I'm gonna make racks around this 80-inch screen, and then I'll put the shit that I don't realistically play anymore up high, so it looks pretty. My regular Nintendo games and my Sega Genesis games, because there's alternate ways to play them. My Nintendo 64 library is about to get a revive, because around Christmas I should be getting an analog 3D. Very excited. I thought those were going to be way more expensive. They're only $250, so gimme. I can't wait to do a review for that. I had to confide in my wife and tell her that I was a little bit of a hater, because a bunch of reviewers already got it, and then when I saw that, I went online to go buy one, and the only ones for sale were the ones that people use to make a YouTube video, and then we're trying to resell for $900 to $1,200. They're $250. Just wait for the orders to open. That's one. 2, I saw something. Let me get the last good bit out, because there's 2 things that are making me angry lately, and I almost did a video yesterday. I almost did a collection video and I was going to start with digital. That's one thing I was going to say. I'm going to start with my digital collection, so that way I don't have to wait to do these videos after Christmas. I don't know how they're going to work yet, because going through 1,000 games just on one console, I don't know how much or how little I'm going to talk. Also, any of these games that I bought and haven't played yet, I'll just be like, hey, it's here. But I'm not going to talk about it, because there's a lot of games that I buy. I get like 5 games a week between all consoles. A week. And I try all of them, and then it's usually like throw out a big net. I buy like 5 games, and 3 of them I like. Like this week I bought 5 games, and I already beat 2 of them. I'm almost done with Iron Meat. But I beat Platform 8 and actually got all the trophies, and I beat Exit 8. That's not a flex. They're not huge. And then games like this, like Tabs, I played mostly on Xbox, and the only reason I got it on here was because they put it on PlayStation Plus. This happened a lot to me. They put it on PlayStation Plus, and I was like, oh yeah, I have this on PlayStation already. So I go re-download it. But there's a lot of games on here that I bought, and then within the next couple months, they're free. So we can chat about that. Thankfully, I'm glad they separate the. I can't get it. The PlayStation Plus games. Wow. So that one will make it easier. They do that on Xbox as well. But anyway, so I throw out the net. I buy 5 games, but then like my kids will like one, and then one of my kids will like the other one. So it's never a waste. All these games get played, just not necessarily by me. And everyone's old enough to have their own accounts. So there's no more playing games on my account. I've restricted that. I've had some game saves disappear. That's another rant. And then the last good bit of details. I've been asked by a former member of 9 Volt Games repeatedly now when we're gonna do. And she wants to come out. I'll let you out. Let me finish the video, and I'll let you out. I'll let you out of the cage. I shut all the doors. Don't look. She's looking at me like. Anyways, my ferret. Just for, I know I had a lot of people around me. My ferret's in the cage, not a person or anything like that. Anyways, I forgot what I was saying. Oh yeah, so old 9 Volt Games member has asked me repeatedly when we're gonna do another podnyne, and I've pushed it off. I've entertained it before, and I've contacted some people, and then I just never pulled the trigger on it because. Starting around COVID, everyone had a podcast. Everyone had a podcast. We had our podcast in 2011 to 2013. Wasn't popular then. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and say this as the group's tastemaker. Really, a lot of the stuff that's popular I did back in 2013. I realize that saying that makes me sound gatekeepy and like a hipster. I'm not gatekeeping anything. I'm just denoting that usually when a game gets remade, there's a good chance you can come back on here and see that I asked for it to be remade a decade ago, and they're getting remade. All but one of the games that I asked for to be remade has been remade, including a really niche Japanese puzzle game, a slider puzzle game about animals. I asked for Baku Baku Animal. That was my remake this as a joke, just because I thought I was the only person who liked it, and they fucking remade the game. I told everybody that PT was coming a year and a half before it came. I told you that Kojima was making it. I told you that he was making it with Guillermo del Toro, and I told everyone that Norman Reedus was going to be involved. I knew about all this stuff. You could see it. But I forgot why I said that. Oh yeah, sorry. I was about to go into the rant. I was getting angry. I don't know if you can see it, but my blood was starting to bubble. Anyways, after the last time he asked, which was we share a birthday. That's me and Chris. I guess for you racists out there, he's the big black guy from 9 Volt Games. But he asked me, and we started talking about it, and I was like, because of COVID, everyone got a fucking podcast, and then over time it stopped being about having fun and more about let's say something that's going to get people to watch and let's sell them something. That's all podcasting has become. Who can say the most outlandish shit or have the most shocking stuff on their podcast and then try and feed you boner pills or whatever the fuck is going on. And that kind of detracts because I talked on here with. I'm leaning so hard into the rant. Let me just sorry. Anyways, I told him, yeah, we'll do a podnyne. We're not gonna do like a weekly podnyne. It's not gonna be a continuing thing. We're gonna do one, and maybe around Christmas, I need to get people on board because I have original people that will join. There's a couple other people I would like to reach out to, and then there are guests that we can have because I've made a lot of friends in the YouTube community. A lot of people that I know instantly I would ask as long as our dates match up that they would come on. Streamers that are bigger than me and stuff like that. So we can make it work really cool. We could make it work and it would be really cool. I don't want to talk about politics. I don't want to talk about cancel culture. I don't want to talk about people not wanting to play a game because there's a female lead, or people not wanting to play a game because I want to talk about games. That's the whole purpose that we were ever doing Pod9. We used to start all of our podcasts with, especially when it was just Dan and myself, what are you playing? What are you thinking? Was our first question. And that's I'd like to go back to it being that. What are you playing? What are you thinking? And I tell you that, hey, I'm playing Iron Meat right now, and I'm thinking that somebody owes, or Konami owes these guys a contract to get Contra back to where it needs to be. Something like that. And then we start a conversation built off of that. They don't got that anymore. Everybody needs to start with a hot button issue, and I fucking hate it. So Pod9 is going to come back, but as far as I can see in the future, it's only going to be one episode, and we'll make it something special. Pod9 holds a place in my heart, near and dear to my heart, because I didn't know at the time, but I met my wife on Pod9. It's just, it took a decade or so, but I met her on there. So it's, as a small part of this channel, big part of my life. So we'll do that. Now I can get into the rant because I'm getting so excited about it. Two-parters. I don't want to talk about any of the gaming controversies. I don't want to talk about the agendas or any of that. I legitimately want to talk to people about games, and those type of videos don't get views. I'm living proof of this, okay? I don't do advertisements. I said this in a stream yesterday. I don't do advertisements, and I'm on YouTube. There's only so far that I can complain. You know what I mean? Because I'm not actively doing anything to change it. If this was a primary source of income, YouTube, I would most definitely be trying to find an alternative source. And people tell me that all the time. You should go somewhere else. Where? Where am I gonna go? Where am I gonna go that actually competes with YouTube? Nowhere. You're not gonna take Google down. Something bad needs to happen for Google to get taken down, and Google owns YouTube. So YouTube, I was here when YouTube started. I was here when YouTube was fledgling. Not I had an account, was uploading content. I watched CKY3 on YouTube back when it was a Wild West, and you could upload whatever the fuck, and it would take a while before somebody was like, hey, you can't have this on here. I watched the CKY movies on there. I used to rip the files from with a converter and put those onto, not Blu-rays, not DVDs, but I would just put them on a regular CDRs, and then people could put it in their computer and watch it. And that was peak, right? And I watched it go from that to what it is now. And somewhere around 2013, this is where I started to get excited when I said the year. Somewhere around 2013, I've told this story a million times, so I'll keep it brief. I killed 9-volt games myself. Not accidentally, not unintentionally. I did it on purpose. We got a big peek behind the curtain at more than one event, and I didn't like what I saw. And I'm telling you that all the shit that you're seeing right now is the stuff I saw in 2013. And not even a year after we stopped being media is when the Gamergate and all that shit happened. And I'm telling you that it's as bad as people say. At least it used to be as bad as people say. Which kind of leads into the next one. This is the rant part I got really angry at this morning. Bethesda posted a creation thing that somebody made. You can go in and buy objects for Fallout and other games using real money with stuff that people made. I don't know enough about that to talk about that or dismantle it. I just know that I'm not going to pay real money. I'm not going to pay real money. Not when there's a million mods for free. I don't know. If I knew more about the creation community and I knew people there, maybe I would support them, stuff like that. But as far as it goes, I'm not participating in that. And then I see people under the creation thing, and I listen. I like that stuff because that's somebody's doing work. And essentially, my 13-year-old son is like one of those people that are making things for creation right now. They're building their skills so that they can go off and do their own thing. And then they can kind of use this as like padding of what we would use as a resume going to get a job. Be like, well, what did you do before? And be like, did you see the Mr. Gutsy backpack for Fallout? I made that shit. You know what I mean? So I'm very adamant with my son about this. My son is part of some programming group this ties into what I'm upset about. My son's in some programming group that is kind of like a lot more family-friendly version of what Newgrounds was from when I was a kid, where you can make games on their hardware, and you upload them, you can get daily and weekly prizes and all that stuff. The reason I say that is because my son does, when he's playing games, my 13-year-old, he complains about what could be different. Okay? It gets annoying. But he's my son, and I want to listen to him. I want to listen to his stuff. So I listened to him. And then I remember this a couple of years ago where he was complaining about a game, and I didn't want to hear it anymore. And he was kind of just repeating bullet points from another YouTuber. And I told him, I was like, if you don't like it, you're gonna find a way to change it or make it better, or don't talk about it anymore, because no one's forcing you. Right? Maybe not the right thing to say, but I think I was just done with kids yapping in my face. My son took that and he learned how to code. So I pushed my son into coding, which is something I think he would have done naturally. So it worked out. But he learned early. So now when my son complains about a game, I can't go, what would you do different? Because if it's a 2D sprite-based game, he'll go, I'll show you what I was going to do different. That's what I want to see online. So let's take it back to the creation thing for Fallout, and now you'll understand why I'm so upset. There was a thread going on, somebody just shitting on Bethesda, and then another person came in and started shitting on EA, and somebody came back to the Bethesda comment and talked about all the hate and horrible things that Bethesda as a company deserves, because they don't like what was being put out at the time. You don't get to do that. You don't work for Bethesda. If you own a game studio, then you have the right to say something. If you're making games that are being well received by people, then you have the right to talk shit. But there's a reason why I don't talk shit about games I don't like on here, is because I don't have the knowledge to tell you what I would do different, or even if it's possible. Hold on. I didn't know what that was. I thought it was James's hair. I got really distracted. Obviously. But I'll let you out. I know. If you can't actually go and make the change yourself, just shut up. Like, nobody owes you a fucking thing. You didn't buy a Bethesda machine. Microsoft acquisition didn't even happen until after COVID. So they don't owe you anything. You didn't buy a Bethesda machine and then the game that you were waiting for doesn't work. That's the time that you complain. Okay? If you can make a game, then I'll listen to your complaints about it, but please make something in lieu of. Otherwise, shut the fuck up. Nobody owes you anything. If you buy a game and it's 100% misrepresentation of the thing you were told you were going to buy, that's the time that you get to attack a company. Not anymore. Okay, we live past the PS2, PS3 era where people were showing pre-rendered trailers. Everyone tells you what the gameplay is now. In-game engine, pre-alpha footage, stuff like that. Not gameplay. They write all this. So by the time a game comes out, you know exactly what you're going to buy. Don't buy it and then go, I don't like it. That's all the internet is now. I don't like it. No reasons as to why, just I don't like it. There are certain games I just don't like, and I can't give you anything that would sound like I wasn't just being a bitch. And that's what people are so comfortable with doing online. It's it's fucking insane to me. I do not like Call of Duty. I don't like Call of Duty. I don't like the community that comes with Call of Duty. I don't like half of you people that ask me to play Call of Duty, because when I say no, you're rude. All right? Call of Duty is for children. Call of Duty is for seriously competitive people, and that's the two things that clash. There are seriously competitive people on there, and there are children on there, and then there are people that are playing it because it came with Game Pass. That's an annoying crowd. I don't want to be part of it. I have agoraphobia. I don't like going to fucking Walmart. So no, I don't want to sit in lobbies with rooms of people. But that's not fair for me to take down an entire game franchise because of what I just said to you. Do you know what I mean? It's like I liked Call of Duty Modern Warfare 1 and then 2, and I was done with it after that. But I didn't sit here on the channel and tell you guys that if you like it, you're wrong. I used to poke at people, but I would never, my wife plays Call of Duty. She's one of the seriously competitive people. I ain't playing that shit. But people look at the games that I play and they have the same feeling. The only difference is you guys will talk shit about it. I've never understood. I know the irony of this coming from somebody who has intermittent rants on their channel and is currently ranting right now. But there's so much hatred and anger in the gaming community. And the stuff that we're getting is reflective of the culture. Everybody complains about everything when it comes out. Nobody's happy. Everyone feels like they're owed something. And we're at the point where companies are like, we're just going to fucking let AI make our games. That's your fault. I know corporate greed, everyone wants corporate greed, it's going to save money, blah, 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 blah. Yes, they want to save money, but they also need to make money. And by making money, they have to make a product that the people want. And if humans can't do it, and all you're doing is complaining and nitpicking every fucking thing, it's only natural that they're gonna, if it's available, they're gonna let AI make their games. Because they can have AI listen to every fucking thing that you want fixed about it. But you're gonna have a hollow game. And I'm gonna bring this up because EA is doing this. EA, I don't know if I'm not getting politics involved. I'm not getting my country. I'm not going to talk about any of that stuff. But I will tell you that from a personal standpoint, I will be boycotting EA indefinitely. I will never buy an EA game. I will never buy an EA property. Nothing. Ever again. Ever again. And any other company that gets sold directly to that person, I'm looking at you, WB. I'll stop playing Mortal Kombat. That's how serious I am about that shit. If WB gets sold to the same place that EA gets sold to, I'm done with all WB games. And that's not really a hard string to cut, because as far as the WB games go, Mortal Kombat's the only one that I still play. They kind of burnt their Rocksteady. I don't know how that worked. I don't know if Rocksteady ruined themselves, or it was corporate meddling from WB, but I'm not looking forward to any Batman anything. And Mortal Kombat 1 was I have a video on here saying Mortal Kombat disappointed me. Mortal Kombat 1 was disappointing. I don't know. But it's at the same time that I said I didn't like Mortal Kombat, but I didn't come on here and, you guys know how much I love Mortal Kombat. Mortal Kombat 1 was extremely disappointing to me. If you need reference, go back in time to when the game came out. I had bought a full costume set. I was going to go as Havoc because I was having surgery on my arm. So I would have had a reason to have my arm disappear. I had a whole thing. That game was so disappointing to me. I didn't even fucking participate in Halloween. I just took my kids trick-or-treating. I didn't put on a costume. I was like, I don't even want to represent anything about this. But I didn't come on here and tell you guys, hey, this game fucking sucks, and WB owes me money, NetherRealm owes me money. No, I don't work there. And I don't have the technical know-how to be like, this is what I would have improved. This is my biggest pet peeve with people complaining. You don't have the knowledge to say, this is what I would improve, this is how I would have improved it, and this is how it would have worked. I don't talk about my job on here a lot because I'm not allowed to. It makes my job sound a lot cooler than it is, trust me. On paper, my job sounds badass, but in practice, it's a regular job. But I'm not allowed to talk about the aerospace or defense part of it, obviously. I can talk about the medical part of it. So this is kind of like how I process things, because it's how I get paid. Okay? If you have had a titanium rod or pin or screw anywhere on your skeletal system since about 2010 in the United States, around this area, there's a good chance that I signed off on the metal that's in your body, because I used to inspect those. They would send us just chunk cores of titanium, and we would have a hydro cut, and then I would do my magic, which I'm not allowed to talk about my process, but I would do my process and testing, and then I would make sure that your macrographical analysis, we want to make sure that the alloys stay bonded and everything is, on the up and up. And we do that so, I can ensure that a fucking pin doesn't deteriorate or break apart, become brittle over time, corrode, make you sick, anything. Like that's my job. It's not solely my job. There's a bunch of other people who do it. But as far as the alloys bonding together, that's my job. Okay? So I guess I get the same knee-jerk reaction when I meet somebody, and I just had a new employee start who has pins, and he was talking about it, and he was talking about how much they suck. I know the concept of them sucks, but I do get a knee-jerk reaction, like, you don't like it? Why don't you fucking come up with something better? That's what I want to say. I want to be like, I know it sucks, but it's proven out to be the best option for you, as opposed to you not having an option to begin with. That's how I view games, because I view it analytically and critically, because that's just that's always how I've been, engineer brain, right? And that's why I fit in my job. I don't like my job, but I fit in it well, because someone with OCD can look at things critically like that. I don't understand the people who are fully aware of the game. They know they're going to dislike it before it even comes out, and then they still buy it and then have the fucking gall to be like, this is garbage. You're garbage. That's the same equivalent of this. You have an inconvenience beforehand. Someone creates something to alleviate it. Somebody has to test it to make sure that it actually alleviates it and it's beneficial for you. But you already had the problem to begin with. Cut that part out, and this is gaming. You're just a person. Someone makes a game. It's an inconvenience for the rest of your life. You are the root problem, and you created it. 100%. I can run that test a dozen times, and I'm going to tell you that the varying factor in anything is you. Not everyone is exactly the same. Not everyone has the exact same tastes and preferences. But I don't understand why, outside of YouTube. I understand on YouTube because it gets you paid, which I think is fucking disgusting. But I don't understand why people will waste so much of their life going into a comment section, going onto a thread, going to comment under a picture, something like that, about how much you dislike something. And you are wasting all that time on the internet instead of helping to fix it. You know that a lot of game developers are just regular people. The people you see as the figurehead of the company aren't the entire company. They're regular ass people. You can reach out to some of these regular ass people, and as long as they don't have a NDA, they'll talk to you about the games that they make. You can reach out to literally anybody and be a nobody, and you can get answers. I've done this before. Dan did this. He liked Hades so much that he went and spoke. I'm really bummed because he's not part of the 9-Volt Games team anymore. But he went and talked to creators of Hades. And then I had to tell him, like, we met them like back in 2012, but we were nobody. And he had a full conversation with them. And that's something I could have used on this channel. Dan, thanks. But these people will talk to you. They're regular people with regular lives. And when you go out and you rip something apart, you have no idea why that game is that way. We all know better as the games are coming out buggy. We all know that they're gonna launch with, I'm gonna have 2 or 3 clips of whatever enemy fucking zipping through the sky in any Bethesda game. It doesn't matter what game it is. We all know that from the outset. So you can't buy it and then be like, they didn't change anything. They haven't. Everyone knows this. It's so fucking... Starfield's a different engine. Same fucking problems. So I figured, like, as long as it's not crashing my game and ruining my game, I can deal with little quirks like that. And that's the point that makes Bethesda games. It's just never a problem until you lose a fucking item that you can't get back, because if you're not playing on a... Well, you can now with mods and stuff. But back in the day, if I was playing Oblivion on 360 and my fucking rare ring I created clipped through a wall, it was gone. I couldn't get it back. There's no console commands that you can do on an actual console, so that's a wrap. But nobody cares outside of it. Nobody cares when fucking mole rats are coming out of the ground and zip into the sky. I get thousands of views and likes on that one. People only care because they feel like everything is a personal attack, and it's like the entitlement that some of the people feel like they have is insane. We're full of lazy people that just watch what other people say on here and repeat it back. They don't do any work themselves. They don't do any research themselves. I know, I told you on here, I had people telling me that I'm a casual gamer and I obviously don't play Fallout. I'm like, you could just 2 clicks and find out how wrong you are. That's where we live in. It's horrible. And I need to say this as a father who plays games. I'm 40 years old. I've been roasted about playing games by people my entire life, mostly older people, because they don't understand. They just, they drank alcohol and beat their wives to get rid of their stress. We are just much better. So, I don't know. Now I was getting it downwards and just shake it off, and now I'm getting upwards. So this is where it comes in. I'm a parent, okay? I don't want my kids to be the reason that adults don't want to play games that were made for adults. Teach your kids respect. Have your kids play old games. Teach them that things are hard. Don't fucking just give them V-Bucks and then let them go into a lobby and be like, look at all my stuff. That's one of my kids. Don't let your kids loose on the internet. I feel like this should have been much bigger. This should have been a much bigger video, and I have to go back and watch it. I'm just gonna post it and then go back and watch it and see what happens after. So the first 6 minutes has the important details. Everything else after, if you stayed, thank you.